This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Media Demo.
Papa Hotel Lima Echo November radio check.
Papa Echo November, good afternoon, read you 5.
Good afternoon, read you 5 as well, Papa Echo November.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Our email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Exonation, my guest this hour is Don Gould. We've had the pleasure of having Don on the show before, and we're going to be talking to Don about his book, 9/11 to Global Jihad. Now, America has long celebrated its tradition of religious tolerance, but it's time to stop congratulating ourselves and start preparing for the 21st century. My guest this hour, Don Gould, is the host of the Internet Talk Radio's Wake Up America, Get Real, has been watching developments in the U.S. over the past 5 decades, and he wonders how we could have ever got so far away from our Constitution. Now, he says, if we don't bring God back into our country, religious extremists will make it impossible for us to live according to our values. Now, Don has spent several years working in countries with large Muslim populations, so he's seen religious fanaticism right up close and personal. What he discovered, providing plenty of food for thought. Now, I'm going to tell you something. In his thriller, 9/11 to Global Jihad, Don lays out a chilling scenario of unchecked Muslim influence in the U.S. and its devastating consequences. His website, www.dongould.us. And Don, welcome back to the X-Zone. Great having you with us.
Thanks, Rob. I'm glad to be here.
Since you and I were last together, you were with us in December. There's been the terrorist bombing in Boston. There's been a terrorist threat that was thwarted by American and Canadian police forces. Where does all this fit into the big plan as far as you can see, based on your experience?
It's moving forward because, we're really, the U.S. government in particular, is trying to basically downplay the threat they've been doing this ever since Barack Obama came into office.
Mm-hmm.
He's tried to say that we killed Osama bin Laden, therefore the Al Qaeda's on the back foot. They're defeated and things aren't going to happen. It's kind of interesting, though, Rob. The facts that I saw a note on the other day. During the George Bush administration, after 2001, all the way to the end of his administration, in 2008, we had no additional terrorist attacks on U.S. homeland. Since Obama came into office and started his game of placating and bowing down and acquiescing to anything that the Islamic Front put forward, we've had 5 terrorist attacks on the U.S. homeland. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, it tells me quite a lot, and I'm sure everyone listening, the light just went on as well, Don. Don, you and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Exonation. Don Gould is my special guest this hour. Don is the host of the internet radio talk, Wake Up America, Get Real, and he's the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad. His website, www.dongould.us. We'll both be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X-Zone continues. And basically, we're talking about how the guise of religious tolerance is allowing Islam to subvert the U.S. I'm telling you, there's a lot happening these days around the world. And, it's because we try to get as much information to you across our many networks worldwide that you, the X-Zone Nation, can make informative decisions. Not many places like this around. We're here Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled lite.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Isn't he a bit like you and me? Nowhere man.
Exonation, Don Gould is my special guest this hour. His website is www.dongould.us, and he's the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad. Tell me, Don, is the potential for more North American terrorist attacks, such as the Boston Marathon bombing, increasing?
Yeah, I think it's increasing, Rob. I don't think there's any question about it. You can't do the kinds of things that the federal government's so-called counterterrorism groups are being forced to do, and continue to stay ahead of this. Basically, the FBI has been hamstrung by the White House. They have been forced to change, basically rewrite their investigative procedures so that they, in conducting an investigation, they cannot offend Muslims. The Muslims complained that they were being targeted, using profiling. They were being targeted, and they were being offended, and so forth. And so the White House basically instructed the FBI to rewrite their investigation documentation, retrain their agents, and move forward in a way that any investigation would be conducted without offending them. Okay, now think about that. From a common sense point of view, if you're a police officer, an investigator, or whatever, how do you conduct a reasonable investigation of a crime without offending someone?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, it doesn't. And the way I see it is the political correctness has gone way too far. It's out of control. And you can't conduct an investigation of any type if you have to tippy-toe on the eggshells because you don't want to crack the eggs. It doesn't work like that. Everybody should be treated equally.
Exactly. There's like I say, there's no way that you can accomplish what needs to be accomplished by doing the types of things that we're doing. The other thing that's happening, and this is just another trigger in my mind, it's another potential avenue. Basically, what's with the amnesty, immigration amnesty for going on, in Congress and the things that are all surrounding that and so forth. They're reporting, the border security people are reporting that the inflow of illegal immigrants since this action started has increased significantly. We've got many more people coming in, trying to come in, and so forth. And Rob, here's the thing that we're talking about. The southern border is so porous that people are pouring across that, and it's not just Mexicans coming in. It is all kinds of people. They have caught and they've detained and deported people out of the Middle East, people from all over the world coming in through that border. How many terrorists have the potential to come in that way? And we're letting them do it. We're letting them come in, and we're talking about giving blank amnesty to millions of illegals, how many of those are potential sleeper cells?
Yeah.
How many of those are, coming in to conduct an attack?
Well, something that's not talked about very much in the mainstream media, Don, and I'm sure you would cover this on your show, is the economic factor that this blanket amnesty is going to take on the United States of America and its citizens. Like, the citizens are going to have to cough up to pay the extra money that this amnesty program is going to cost.
We're talking about trillions.
Yeah.
Rob, I saw some numbers the other day. It's trillions of dollars that this program is going to cost in taxpayer money that doesn't exist. I mean, we don't have the money today. Where are we going to get a few more trillion? I think the initial number was something like 1.6 trillion, and there was some other numbers when you factor in all the additional cost and so forth that is involved in that. We can't afford it. If any business in the world with an accounting system with a debt factor like we've got would be bankrupt. We're bankrupt. There's no question about it.
Don, what do you think the main picture is now painting? For example, when I look at what's happening, the amnesty program, you've got the what's going on in the different theaters around the world, the threat of North Korea with nuclear armament, with the different crises that are both internal and external of the United States. I can't see how the government is allowing this to go on unless they know something that they're not sharing with the population. Is this part of a plan?
There's a lot of things they don't share, but they really do not. I don't believe that the people that are running the U.S. today, it's either a devious plan to take down the U.S. or it's a very stupid mentality, and perhaps it's a combination of both of those. Examples are the what's going on, like you say, with Korea, with Iran, with Syria.
Yeah.
We're now talking about we should do something about Syria. They've crossed a red line and so forth. At the same time, the Russians are talking about putting a missile defense system, selling the Syrians a missile defense system. We're headed back into a Cold War scenario very quickly and very fast if we're not very careful. Mr. Putin has no use for the U.S. of A. And he is doing a lot of things as you look at what's going on in the U.S. Obama wants to cut our nuclear deterrent to almost nothing. Putin launched one new ballistic missile submarine. He's going to launch another 2. He did that in 2012. He's going to launch another 2 this year. He's building his military, and we've got an administration that wants to take what we've got down.
The big difference I see between this Cold War that's coming up, and I agree with you 100%, and the old Cold War that we just got rid of, it's just not Russia and the United States anymore. No. It's Russia, North Korea, and all the other countries that now have nuclear arms. It's a totally different game board, and it can't be won the same way that it was in the 60s.
No, that's very true. The major concern, Rob, is that if these people in some of these Middle East countries get access to nuclear weapons, you've already got Pakistan that has nuclear weapons, but if you get Iran and you get other countries along the same lines with nuclear weapons, How long is it going to be before some of these are turned over to some terrorist organization and end up in European and American cities or North American cities? I mean, you guys, Canada's as threatened as we
Sure.
are by this.
And in your opinion, why is it that the governments around the world, Canada's the same way, we're bending over backwards to please Islam?
What we've done is we've created an environment where tolerance has gone crazy. Political correctness and tolerance have become basically the watchwords, bylaws of too many people in too many organizations, and it's out of control. It is totally out of control, and tolerance. When you think about it, tolerance is it sounds like a great thing to do, to be tolerant. What you forget is that when you're tolerant of too much, you become intolerant of other things. Okay? Things work the way they work. This country grew to be the most powerful country on the face of the earth over a period of 200 years. And we did that with a respect for our citizens, with respect for the world, with respect more than anything else for God. What we are doing and have done is walked away from God. That is not going to be allowed to continue. When you basically massacre, kill 50,000 babies plus over a period of 40 years based on a legal determination, there is no way that kind of thing is going to be tolerated.
Don, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation, my guest this hour is Don Gould. The name of his book is 9/11 to Global Jihad. His website, www.dongould.us. The question is, or the point we're trying to make, is how the guise of religious tolerance is allowing Islam to subvert the U.S. And I'm going to add, and other countries. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. You can now listen to the X-Zone Radio Show 724-365 in high-definition stereo at www.xzoneradiotv.com/listen.htm. We'll be back. Don't go away. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X-Zone radio show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
But Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man. City girls just seem to find out early how to open doors with just a smile.
Explanation, Don Gould is my special guest this hour. Don is the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad. His website is www.dongould.us. Don, let's use a hypothetical situation here. What do you think the founding fathers would say if they knew what was going to happen some 200 years after the signing of the Declaration of Independence?
I saw an article not too long ago where somebody made the comment that Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, and company are probably spinning in their graves today. They would not in any way believe what this country has come to since their time. They would not believe it. They wouldn't condone it. They wouldn't allow it. A lot of the conversation, you'll hear a lot of conversation from the left in particular about how some of these people, Jefferson and so forth, weren't really that religious. If you read his writings and you read the writings of all these guys, they all had a very deep, abiding belief and love for God, and their beliefs are what you see in documents like the Declaration of Independence, like the Constitution, and so forth. Religious freedom was one of the founding concepts, but religious freedom cannot be construed to be a situation where one religion takes control, takes precedent over everything else. And folks, I have been there and I've seen it. I've talked to these guys. I've lived on the streets of Muslim countries. I've rubbed shoulders with them. I've got friends that are Muslim. There are some good ones.
Sure, there are.
Okay. The basic belief, though, is that Islam is destined to rule the world and ultimately replace all other religions. That's what they're taught. They're taught that from childhood, and they believe it. Okay, some believe it's going to happen right away, and they're trying to make it happen right away, the radical element. The others, the so-called moderates, don't necessarily believe it's going to happen in their lifetime, but they ultimately, they believe the same thing. They believe it's going to happen. And, you see that happening in Europe. You see in the suburbs of Paris and other French cities, Belgium, there's a lot of areas in Europe where they've got some fairly significant populations. They've taken over some suburbs of some of these cities, and Sharia law is the law of the land in many of these suburbs.
Wow.
And national police in France and some of the other places will not go into those suburbs unless there is a major incident like a riot or like a a bombing or something like that. And when they do go in, they go in force with riot gear, with all kinds of protection and so forth, because what you got is a Muslim ghetto where Sharia law is the law of the land.
How do we turn this around? How can we turn it around, or is it way too late?
It can be turned around, but Rob, people have to wake up. Christians have to wake up. This country and in Canada, they're Christian nations.
Yes.
You got these guys talking garbage. America's not a Christian nation. Well, I got news for you, fella.
It is.
Go out there and you take a look at what percentage of people in this country profess to be Christians. Okay, now some of them don't live it by the law or by the law of God every day, but they have a basic belief, and it is a Christian nation. We have to turn that around. We have to wake up, and we have to take control back from the people that have taken it way too far the other way. One of the things, and it's I'm focused on the current administration, and it's not just this administration. There's, we got a long way to go to get back where we need to be. But that's one thing that needs to happen. And based on some of the hearings that actually started yesterday, this latest hearing on Benghazi.
Yeah.
And there's a strong push right now, very strong push in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Certain members of the Senate are pushing the Speaker of the House to create a select committee to do a thorough, detailed investigation of Benghazi. But came out of this first one, it's very, very obvious that the administration lied, and they've covered it up all the way down the line. They're still covering up. And that in itself, that along with a whole lot of other things out there, are grounds to take this administration down. The Nixon administration was taken down for a cover-up that involved a break-in.
Yeah.
Okay? In this case, 4 brave Americans died. They died, and Obama, in my opinion, Obama fiddled while those people died. He did nothing to help them. One of the witnesses yesterday, the guy that was number 2 in the embassy in Libya. He was number 2 to Chris Stevens, a guy by the name of Hicks. One of the things that he said is they were at the airport and prepared to go to Benghazi. They had a plane ready. They had some special forces troops. There weren't many. I think there were 4 or 6. There was 4 that were tied to one command and 2 that were tied to another. These guys were ready to. They had some vehicles. They had other things, and the lieutenant colonel in charge walked over to Mr. Hicks and said, "Greg, I'm sorry. I have been told I cannot go. I have been told to stand down." And he said, "I have spent many years in the military, 20-plus years, I think he said, in the U.S. military, and this is the first time that I am aware of when a civilian State Department employee, in this case Mr. Hicks, has more balls than the U.S. military, and I am ashamed."
Wow.
That's what he said.
In your opinion, the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, what was her part in this entire thing?
What came out of the hearings yesterday was that she knew a lot more. She claimed she didn't know anything about. She didn't know anything about the security situation being weak. She really didn't know what was going on. What came out yesterday is she actually talked to those people. It was 2 in the morning, I think, Benghazi time, which would have been sometime in the evening in Washington, D.C. She talked to them on the phone. She knew what was going on. What came out of that hearing yesterday is going to burn Hillary Clinton in the long run.
Do you think
She's
that
right now the Democrats' #1 candidate for president in 2016? What comes out of this, she will never hold another elective office, I do not believe.
Do you think the events in Benghazi actually played a major part in her stepping down as the Secretary of State in the second term of office?
Yeah, I think it did. There were some rumors out there, okay, and that's what they were. I mean, I can't tell you these are facts, but there are rumors out there that she and Bill Clinton really had some major disagreements. Really went to war in the days after the Benghazi thing, with Bill telling her to come clean and go public with some things, but she would never do that because she was afraid it would take Obama down and it would burn her forever in the eyes of the Democratic Party. Now, like I say, that's a rumor, but based on a lot of stuff I've seen, I think there's a lot of truth to it.
We talked briefly about Syria, and I remember when President Obama said that, if they crossed that line, that he would take action. Do you think that he will really take military action in Syria? Can we afford another conflict in another theater? And what, in your opinion, will that do to the troops that we have now, and who will be, who's going to be left in case North Korea acts up?
Yeah, I don't. Well, two questions really, Rob. Number one, I don't think Obama's going to do anything. I don't think that the guy has the guts to do it. On the one hand, he's going to do some more fiddling and playing games, and what they're doing right now is they're saying, well, we don't have enough facts. We've got to have more facts and so forth. He's being urged by some of the senatorial guys to at least declare a no-fly zone or do something along these lines. He sent John Kerry to Russia this week to try to bring Putin on side. I don't think they're going to get anywhere with that. Putin's got an entirely different agenda. But on the other question, can we afford it? It's a tough call. No matter who you are and what you are in government, where you come from. In many ways, we can't afford another war in the Middle East with some of the other things that are going on.
Well, wasn't Israel accused of firing upon suspected weapon plant, or a plant that was making chemical weapons a couple of days ago? Yeah. And Israel basically said, well, hey, if we go into a war, we've got the United States right behind us.
Yeah. As you will recall, Rob, Obama told him that on his last visit to Israel here just a month ago, a little over a month ago. He told him exactly that. He said, we're behind you, we support you 100%, we're going to do whatever it takes. He was forced to do that because he's been so he's leaned so far the other way that the Jewish contingent in the U.S. really don't trust him anymore. And believe it or not, that's one of his constituencies, okay? Jewish people in the U.S. generally vote Democratic. They you know, their basic logic is that they've always been persecuted, and thus they stand for the underdog. And they believe that Democratic Party does that. It stands for the underdog.
These are interesting times. There's no two ways about it. And, you know, with what is going on within the world of Islam, the increased threat of terrorism. Speaking about increased threat of terrorism, you know, isn't Al Qaeda kicking up and strengthening in northern Africa these days?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so in Mali,
yeah.
And in other areas of North Africa. This claim of the Obama administration that Al Qaeda is on its back foot and we've beaten them and so forth is about as true as his story about the Benghazi attack being caused by the video. You know, they're fabrications. That's exactly what they are. There is no way that Al Qaeda has been decimated. In fact, if anything, it's been strengthened. It was strengthened by his policies in the Middle East and the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring brought radical Islam to the fro. Okay, it brought the Muslim Brotherhood to power in Egypt. It brought Al Qaeda to power in many parts of Libya. And you know, Al Qaeda, no way those guys have been defeated.
Don, stand by, old friend. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Exo Nation, always great having Don Gould on the show. He's the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad. His website is www.dongould.us. And I'd like to hear your comments on the topic that we're talking about tonight, how the guise of religious tolerance is allowing Islam to subvert the U.S. and Canada, for that matter, and other countries around the world. Send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and I'll share your comments with the X Zone Nation. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our studios and broadcast facilities in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, After the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. Oh, geez. What's going on here? During the commercial break, we lost Don Gould. We tried to get a hold of him back, but unfortunately we weren't be able to raise him. So we're going to get Don back on another show because it's always great talking to Don. He's the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad, and his website is www.dongould.us. And once again, he's the author of 9/11 to Global Jihad, and his website is www.dongould.us. And before anybody reads anything into it, it has nothing to do with government conspiracies, cover-up, or censorship. These things do happen where you lose a line connection with somebody because, you know what, it's that type of high-tech world that we live in that, it just... Well, the phones aren't like they used to be. They're not as hot-wired as they used to be. They're not as secure as they used to be. And they're not as well-made as they used to be. Everybody's using these different carriers, different phone companies, different cable companies. It's a smorgasbord of communications. But anyway, we'll get Don back on. Before I go to my next segment with my next guest, do you remember that Montel Williams, Sylvia Brown thing where this lady asked if her daughter would ever be found, and Sylvia Brown said, well, she's gone, she's dead. Well, that lady's daughter was one of the 3 girls that were rescued in Cleveland, Ohio the other day. And reports are that Montel Williams and Sylvia Brown are no longer part of the Fox network. If you go to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/X-Zone Radio TV, you can actually see that clip. We have it up there. It's from ABC News. And this just goes to enforce what I've been saying for many years, that psychics do not know what the heck they're talking about. They make good money very fast, and what they do is they live off the veils of the agony of the person that is paying them anywhere from $100 to $750 for a half hour. Here in Canada, telling fortunes for consideration, which is money, is against the law. It's a summary conviction. Unfortunately, law enforcement agencies do not enforce it. I think they should, and there's a number of psychics that I would love to see wrapped up and put behind bars. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our studio broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. I will be back on the other side of this news break at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour. Don't go away.